Assalamualaikum. My name is Professor Dr. Ashraf Zia. Uh, I hope all of you are fine. Uh, I'm going to discuss today dengue fever. As you know, a few years ago we had uh, an epidemic of dengue fever, uh, and so many people died all over Pakistan. Uh, so we must know about dengue fever, how it spreads, and how what are different types of dengue fever. Um, we start with the introduction. Dengue fever is a painful, debilitating uh, mosquito-borne disease caused by any one of the four closely related dengue virus. By definition, dengue fever is also known as a break-bone fever, is a mosquito-borne tropical disease caused by the mosquito bite, just like malaria. The alternative name for dengue, as I said, break-bone fever, comes from the associated muscle and joint pains. It causes severe muscular pain and also pain in the joints, and from that reference it is also known as breaking bone fever. It is caused by the female Aedes aegypti mosquito bite, which transmit the dengue virus into the human beings. As far as the incidence is concerned, each year an estimated 100 million cases of dengue fever occur worldwide. The global incidence of dengue has grown dramatically in recent decades. 20, 30 years ago, there were very few cases of dengue fever in Pakistan, but over the years, the incidence of dengue fever has increased in our area. In India, the cases has increased sharply also over the last 5 years, like in Pakistan, and there were about 38,000 cases uh, were only reported in India. It is a tropical disease, and the tropical regions are Indian subcontinent like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, then occur in Mexico, Africa, and southern China. Dengue fever, there are different phases. Is the one is a febrile phase, and then it is a critical phase, and then is a recovery phase. In the febrile phase, which lasts about 7 days, there is a high grade fever up to 40 degrees centigrade or 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Uh, there is an associated headache, generalized arthralgia, myalgia, petechial hemorrhages, bleeding from the mucous membrane, and a rash occur in 50 to 80% of the cases. You can see the rash due to dengue fever. Then it is a critical phase which lasts about 2 days. When there is a leukopenia, the white cell count decreases, the platelets also decreases, leads to thrombocytopenia. There is an increased capillary permeability leading to plasma leakage that lead to metabolic acidosis, which can be checked by doing blood gases. In children, febrile phase is commonly carries in children, febrile phase is commonly associated with nausea, vomiting, and thrombocytopenia, and you can see bleeding from the gums in this case. Recovery phase lasts about 2 to 3 days. There is a stabilized hemodynamic status like vitals, respiratory rate, heart rate, blood pressure, temperature, increase urine output, overall clinical improvement in the patient's general health. Increase in fluid overload can cause cerebral edema during this phase. Signs and symptoms fever, as I said, with high grade up to 105 degree Fahrenheit, headache, muscle and joint pain, skin rash appears 4 to 5 days after fever, pain behind eyes, nausea, vomiting, and mild bleeding. If we can see the symptoms in a diagrammatic way in dengue fever, the febrile phase is the sudden onset of fever with headache, mouth and nose bleeding, muscle and joint pain, vomiting, rash, diarrhea. In the critical phase, we can see hypotension, pleural effusion, ascites, gastrointestinal bleeding, and in recovery phase, there is altered level of consciousness, seizure, itching. Warning signs in dengue fever are severe abdominal pain, persistent vomiting, vomitus contains blood, drowsiness, irritability, dyspnea, swollen lymph nodes, prostration, and diarrhea. These are the warning signs in dengue fever. The diagnostic test WHO proposed a clinical definition of dengue fever. The probable dengue fever is when there is an exposure in an endemic area with fever with the two of the following symptoms and signs present like nausea, vomiting, rash, aches and pains, joint pain, positive tourniquet test, leukopenia, any warning sign, laboratory confirmation important needs regular medical observation. The warning signs, if there are no warning signs need for hospitalization, is influenced by age, comorbidities, pregnancy, and social factors. Most of the cases are mild, but uh, the, if the patient is at a vulnerable age or if she is pregnant or other social factors which they cannot be looked after in at home, then they needs to be hospitalized. Probable dengue plus one of the dengue with warning signs are probable dengue plus one of the abdominal pain, tenderness, persistent vomiting, signs of fluid accumulation like pleural effusion and ascites, mucosal bleeding, lethargy, hepatomegaly, liver more than 2 centimeters large, rapid increase in hematocrit with a fall in platelet count, needs a medical intervention and IV fluids. These are the warning signs if somebody is suffering with dengue fever. The severe dengue, the signs are severe plasma leakage leading to shock, which is known as dengue shock syndrome. These are symptoms and signs of a severe dengue fever. The fluid accumulation with a respiratory distress, severe hemorrhagic manifestations like a GIT hemorrhage, Uh, Severe organ involvement like liver enzyme AST and ALT more than 1000 units per liter. CNS involvement leads to impaired consciousness, cardiomyopathy, other organs like renal impairment. These needs emergency medical treatment and specialist care with intensive care input because these signs shows a severe dengue fever with shock-like symptoms are also known as dengue shock syndrome. How to do a tourniquet test? The tourniquet test is performed by inflating a blood pressure cuff to a point midway between the systolic and diastolic pressure for 5 minutes. The test is considered positive when 10 or more petechiae per 2.5 centimeter or 1 inch are observed. In dengue hemorrhagic fever, the test usually gives a definite positive result when there are more than 20 petechiae. The test may be negative or mildly positive during the phase of profound shock. So this is the photographs demonstrating application of the tourniquet and these are showing the petechial hemorrhages. Lab features, as I said, that there is leukopenia, neutropenia, and thrombocytopenia, elevated ALT and AST in liver function test, and serology or detection of the dengue viral material in blood by RT-PCR. Dengue-specific IgG and IgM ELISA positive for IgM antibodies on or after day 5 of the fever. IgM ELISA has a sensitivity of 83.9 to 98.4% and is a specificity of 100%. Extravasation of the fluid due to vascular leakage can be detected radiologically by doing a chest radiograph for pleural effusion and echocardiography for pericardial effusion and ultrasonography for ascites. How we can defend against dengue? Uh, the We must remove water from the cooler and other small containers at least once in a week. Use aerosol during daytime to prevent the bites of the mosquito. And number three, do not wear clothes that expose arms and legs. Use mosquito net and mosquito repellent while sleeping during daytime. They use these mosquitoes usually bite when there is a sun going down. So one should avoid going outside and also, as I said, that remove all the water containing uh, different pots from the house and use aerosol to prevent the bites of the mosquito and use nets during night prevent having bites of mosquitoes. As far as the management is concerned, most of the cases of dengue fever are mild and they are not having any complications, so they are just managed with paracetamol. But in severe cases like dengue hemorrhagic fever and dengue shock syndrome, you have to give um, medications and blood uh, uh, bleeding prevention and control is the main target, and next is the fluid and water replacement because of the leakage uh, of the vascular compartment, and symptoms relief and also control of the fever because there is a high grade fever. Increased body temperature related to infection as evidenced by the vital signs monitoring, hypovolemic shock related to hemorrhage, fluid overload deficit related to migration of intravascular fluid into extravascular fluid, impaired nutrition less than body requirement related to decreased appetite. These are the nursing management of the patient with the dengue fever. You the fight dengue with these simple diet tips. Consume protein-rich food, increase your water intake, eat more of the green leafy vegetable, eat easily digestible foods, have more fresh fruits, drink juice, uh, extracted from pepper leaves. As far as the prognosis is concerned, for the majority of the people infected with dengue fever virus, the prognosis is excellent, although they are likely to feel very ill during the first 1 to 2 weeks of acute illness. Overall, the fatality rate is about 1% for all dengue fever infection. The complications: a small percentage of individuals who have dengue fever can develop a more serious form of disease, which is known as a dengue hemorrhagic fever and disseminated intravascular coagulation, dengue shock syndrome, hepatitis, cerebral hemorrhage or edema, encephalitis, cranial nerve palsy, rhabdomyolysis, myocarditis, vertical transmission if infection within 5 weeks of delivery to the baby. So if the mother have infection in the last trimester of the uh, pregnancy, then there is a chances that the babies are born with dengue fever, or they have infected with the dengue virus. Most of us confuse that what is dengue hemorrhagic fever and dengue shock syndrome. Always remember they are not they are the complication of the dengue fever. As I said, we get most of us get dengue fever, but few of us get the complicated complications of dengue fever, and they are known as dengue hemorrhagic fever and dengue shock syndrome. So, what is dengue hemorrhagic fever? First, what is the criteria of dengue hemorrhagic fever? The four WHO criteria for dengue hemorrhagic fever are: number one, fever; number two, hemorrhagic manifestations symptoms; low platelet count, 100,000 or less; elevated hematocrit, more than 20. Criteria for dengue hemorrhagic fever: probable or confirmed case of dengue and hemorrhagic tendency manifested by positive tourniquet test, petechiae echymosis or purpura, bleeding from mucosa, GIT tract, injection sites, hematemesis or melena plus thrombocytopenia or plasma leakage, which is manifested as pleural effusion, ascites, and hypoproteinemia. These are different photographs. They are showing purpura. There's a bleeding from the gums, the bleeding from the nose. They manifest as epistaxis. They are the petechial hemorrhages over the body, and there's the bleeding from different parts of the body, and she is also having vomiting with the blood and presented as a hematemesis. So they are the different manifestations of a dengue hemorrhagic fever when there is a more tendency to bleed from different parts of the body. They are the bruises. This is a quite a big bruises, and you can see lot of bruises over the both arms and the body. This is another picture of a child with a nose bleeding, and this is a bleeding around the eyes, a conjunctival infec- infections. So these are different manifestations of dengue hemorrhagic fever. Well, what is dengue shock syndrome? It can trigger dengue shock syndrome by massive bleeding, death, dehydration, febrile convulsions. So these are manifestations of the same illness but in a very severe form when there is a shock-like syndrome. Dengue shock syndrome is the fourth clinical syndrome of dengue fever, a severe form of dengue hemorrhagic fever. There are four criteria for dengue hemorrhagic fever: evidence of circulatory failure manifested indirectly by all the following, like rapid and weak pulse, uh, narrow pulse pressure 20 millimeter of mercury, management of a dengue hemorrhagic shock. The steps are supportive measures. There is a fluid resuscitation like crystalloids and colloids. Fluids are given. Blood component therapy like packed red blood cells, fresh frozen plasma, cryoprecipitate, platelet concentrate, oxygen therapy, inotropic sports like dopamine, antivitamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and melatonin. Packed red cells when there is a loss of blood over blood 10% or more of the total body volume, blood volume, refractory shock despite adequate fluid administration and declining hematocrit. The replacement volume should be 10 ml per kilogram body weight at a time, and coagulogram should be done. If fluid overload is present, packed red cells are to be given. Platelet in general, there is no need to give prophylactic platelet even at less than 20,000 per cubic millimeter. Prophylactic platelet transfusion may be given at a level of less than 10,000 cubic millimeter in absence of bleeding manifestation. Prolonged shock with a coagulopathy and abnormal coagulogram. In case of systemic massive bleeding, red blood transfusion may be needed in addition to red cell transfusion. Fresh frozen plasma and cryoprecipitate can be given if there is a coagulopathy with the bleeding. Thank you very much. I hope this will help you to understand the dengue fever and its different types and the severity of the dengue fever. The, luckily, in more than 95% of the cases, we just the disease manifests with the fever and mild headache with the joint and body pains, but the severity of the illness can goes to severe forms like dengue hemorrhagic fever and dengue shock syndrome. In a very few cases where they needs to be admitted into the ICU, where all the facilities must be available to handle with the severity of the illness. The involvement of the hematologist and the blood transfusion services is very important, along with the ICU consultant to manage any patient with a dengue hemorrhagic fever and dengue shock syndrome. Thank you very much. If you have any question, please let me send me an email. My email address is rzia56 at the rate hotmail.com. My mobile number is 0300 8440973 and my WhatsApp number is same 0300 8440973. If you have any question, please send me email or send me a message. I will be delighted to answer all your questions. I hope you are all safe and healthy. Thank you very much.